Hey, Southeast Missouri sports fans. Enjoy the show and want to take it on the go? You can find every episode on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, or YouTube. Tune in as they air by searching SEMO Sports Zone wherever you may be listening. Welcome to the SEMO Sports Zone presented by A-Corp Sports. I am Drew, the saddest Walmart Wolverine around. With me, as always, is my coworker Dave. David, football's over, basketball started. Want to put a bow on football?
Yeah, I'm a little sad. It's we didn't have a show to talk about the football games from a couple of weeks ago.
Not that nothing happened.
Yeah, I mean, nothing happened at all. And now we've had the finality of it the other day, and so yeah, it's a shame that football's over. But man, we had some really good games, and Southeast Missouri was represented well, and just some unfortunate incidents that were just teams weren't able to advance.
I guess let's just go ahead and talk about Dexter Live for Life.
Yeah, that was an outstanding performance by Dexter.
Yeah,
just absolutely. I mean, they I don't know how many people actually gave them a chance to win that game, especially after what happened the year before. And they were in that game to the end. Their defense was just on point all game and just did a tremendous job. I know that there was a lot of, some thoughts of the touchdown at the end. I've watched different angles. I know you were there and saw some different angles. I can't tell if it was a touchdown or not. The call was a touchdown, so it was a touchdown. I mean, that's kind of how you have to look at it. Then the field goal, just a great play by Live for Life to get there and make that block. He kind of came through untouched. Man, he's quick. Mm-hmm. The kid who blocked it. I think it just came out of the end. Dexter just could not get that ball into the end zone at any point. At any of those drives, if they get the ball in the end zone, Dexter may still be playing. But just unfortunate, but just nothing to hang their heads about. Just a great game from Dexter, and you hate that it ended that way, but it was a great performance.
Yeah, you look at last year's game, and losing by about 50. It was like what 52
to 12 or something like that. Yeah, something. Yeah.
And you look at that, and I was kind of a naysayer going into this game too. On the ride up there, I was like, "There's no way." I feel like Live for Life's just going to throw the ball on them. It's not going to be the way. It kind of really felt reminiscent of how Cape Central Live for Life played, of just that they couldn't get their throwing down. And Dexter's offense, I mean, although they could not get into the end zone, I mean, there was a lot of plays that surprised me. I mean, you've got your bread and butter, your run offense, but then Geatley at the end. I feel like Geatley really came into his own in this game in a lot of ways. Running the ball, that trick play at the end, I think that was very explosive. That's exactly what you want to see from your junior quarterback. Like you said, I mean, sucks the way it ended, but that's just how it is. See, I every time we're in this situation, it sucks that it's always postseason. You play a private school, and everybody comes out saying, well, we played a private school. Not fair that we played a private school. Not fair that the refs determined something. It is what it is at the end of the day. I mean, you had chances to score touchdowns and couldn't convert. It's just that's how it goes.
Yeah, and again, the touchdown was close.
It was close. It was close.
It was close. You can't. There's nothing I could tell. Hey, the call on the field was a touchdown. There's nothing I saw that would overturn that on a video review or anything. So,
I guess that's the other part of it. I mean, people are going to say it's like, why is there no way to review it? And it's like, well, that comes with so many caveats. You have to have people that can review it. You have to have an ability for the refs to see it on the broadcast, things like that. What goes into it? I mean, it's a lot. It's not college or NFL. I mean, it's a lot of expensive equipment to get in the field too.
Exactly, and you and I both talked before we came on about we've seen different angles of it. We've seen it just you can't tell. So what there's nothing to say that even if you did have just all kinds of cameras that you'd still be able to tell. You see that in the NFL, that there's a lot of times that they don't have just that right angle to prove or disprove what happened. So, I mean, the calling field was a touchdown, and it was a so they get a touchdown. It was just a good play made by Lift for Life, and then you still was just a tie, and then they gave up the 2-point conversion, which apparently was called by the quarterback on the field. That play was called. That wasn't called from the sideline. He saw something in the Dexter defense and made that play call on the field. So, I mean, a good play from him, and then they just completely rolled on Saturday against St. Michael. So, I mean, Dexter, I mean, they could have be playing for a state title if, you just you score a touchdown here or there. But, that Lift for Life defense, I mean, they played well too. Yeah. I mean, Dexter moved the ball, but that Lift for Life, it was kind of a bend, don't break defense. And man, it was just a great football game, and it's just a shame that somebody had to lose. And hey, Lift for Life goes in. I mean, they play a really tough Seneca team for the state title, but say they go in there and blow them out. Maybe you saw the state championship game at in Melville but I think Dexter proved that they're one of the top 4 teams in the state and in Class 3. And I think that man, it was just a really nice performance for them. It's unfortunate they lost, but just a really nice performance.
Absolutely. And 8-6, weird scoregami for us. I don't think we've ever had that one. So.
Yeah, you don't see many of those type games anymore. But it was kind of fun to see. I mean, Dexter all year long, it was just kind of, hey, we've got this running offense, and their defense kind of flew under the radar a little bit. I mean, they had a good defense. We talked about it some on here, but it was just never the main focus point. But man, their defense just really came and showed out and just shut down everything what Lift for Life was trying to do. And again, it just took and Lift for Life, when they scored, they barely scored. Yeah. I mean, it was kind of one of those situations.
No, you talk about just goal line stands. I mean, that was what, 3 downs of just they just got stood up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was just outstanding football game, just an outstanding football game. And, kudos to Dexter, their coaching staff, and those players. I know that they're disappointed, but you'll look back on this game, and this is a game that'll be talked about for quite a while.
Yeah, back-to-back district champions. I mean, you hang your hat on that.
And I mean, coming back.
It's hard to do.
And you've got your quarterback back, you've got Wernick back, you've got some guys, a lot of guys on your defense coming back. I mean, so your offensive line mostly is back. I mean, you've got some pieces next year that you can make another run. So, I mean, just continue to build, and Coach Jamerson's got things rolling at Dexter right now.
All right. Want to talk about Hayti?
Yeah, I mean, Hayti, they went up to Van Far and just blew them out. Took advantage of a lot of their mistakes. Van Far had a safety fumble to kickoff return. They muffed a punt, and Hayti just took advantage of all that, and too many athletes. They weren't ready for the athletes that Hayti had, and Hayti rolled. Then they come in and play the midgets of Putnam County. What a nickname, the midgets, man.
Somehow still flies.
Yeah, I think, I read a little bit about it. I guess they were named that in the early 1900s. I guess they were smaller than everybody, so they called them the midgets. But I think there's been a few. That's what it said. But apparently there's been some people who want to change it, and the community won't allow it. So I guess they're the midgets, and they did not play small against Hayti. They started off slow. I mean, Hayti scored quick, used their athletes to get out in space, and were able to score and built like a 20. I think it was a 22-13 lead. And then Putnam made a big play there to score. Then they got an onside kick and hit a big pass play right before half to take the lead. And second half was all Putnam. The weather was so bad. It was cold. It was windy. Hayti wasn't really able to throw it much because it was so windy, and just played right into Putnam County's hands, and they were able to pull it out. Putnam County's a really good football team. They beat the Salisbury Stakes the week before, and that was they're undefeated, and they're going to play a Tipton team in the state championship game. That ought to be a really good one, but. Hayti, again, nothing to hang their heads about. Young team. There's a lot of those guys going to be back, and you would think that they may be back in this situation next year. Yeah,
coming off of a regular season where there are a lot of question marks about halfway through. I mean, this is about as good as a run that you can really hope for out of that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, in the middle of the season, I mean, they weren't even in the top 10, 12 of our rankings, and then but man, they just really turned it back on. They were able to get healthy. Got some guys back from injury, including the quarterback, and once that happened, man, they just started clicking, and they're a tough team when all the pieces are there, and And they showed that, and it was just kind of one of those things that the weather did not cooperate in the second half. I think if it was a nice sunny day and you have your ability to throw the ball a little bit better, then everything just went Putnam County's way. The weather, everything in that second half, and just unfortunate. But at the same time, Putnam County is a really good football team. You can't hang your head losing to that team. That's a team that's probably got a good chance to win a state title this weekend. But hey, if you're Hayti, you got a lot of guys back, and you've had this experience of making to the semifinals. Use that and try to make it a step further next year.
Absolutely, going to be scary again next year.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they're going to be good. They're going to be really good.
And then the Jackson Indians?
Yeah, Jackson, man. How about that game against CBC? I mean, the number one team in state comes in to your house, and you play just an amazing football game. Jumped on them quick. I mean, they were able to get out early and had a 24-point lead at one point. But a CBC team, man, they are good, and they came back and made a game of it at the end. And Jackson had to make a play. Drew Parsons, the Carr Trophy winner. We talked about how we thought he would be the Carr Trophy winner, and he was. Congratulations to him and Jason Hrvojevic of Dexter, who won the Derlin Moore Award. Congratulations to both of them. But Drew Parsons showed why he won the Carr Trophy, man. He made a huge play, kind of a little scramble there to pick up a fourth down to seal the game for Jackson, and just tremendous play from him and that whole team. I mean, that was just a great football game. 45-42. Certainly wasn't the 8-6 that Dexter played. You kind of had the best of both worlds if you were a Southeast Missouri football fan that weekend.
Yeah, I was getting score updates like on the field, everybody talking about that game too while we're at Melville. My claim was just like, all right, Jackson's leading early. The thing is their defense going to hold up against CBC this whole time. And you can kind of feel that slip, and you saw that lead just like starting to fizzle away. But man, Jackson, they turned it on right when they needed to.
Yeah, Nick McClellan, the quarterback for CBC, he's going to Kansas State. He said he is a player, and he's tough to stop. And they just, he was making plays, but Jackson just made that fourth down play at the end in order to seal it. Got to play Lee's Summit up here, up in Kansas City, and that just, unfortunately for Jackson, that second half, it just didn't go their way. They just ran up against a team who basically just, I mean, they just snapped the ball to their quarterback, and their quarterback just ran. He ran the ball 48 times. 48 of their 69 snaps, he ran the ball, and he threw like 10 passes. So like almost every play he was involved in, but 48 carries and 48 carries for 251 yards and 4 touchdowns.
That's insane.
They just couldn't stop him, and they just snapped the ball to the quarterback and just ran quarterback off tackle. And just Jackson, as good as their defense was, just couldn't stop it.
It sucks when that's how your year ends, especially with how dominant they've been all year. I wonder what adjustments you could have made to, stop that run.
Yeah, I don't know. It was tough. The second half, just Jackson couldn't do anything right the second half. I think Parsons was 2 of 6 in the second half, and one of those was on a 4th and 15 with time running out there, and they threw completed a 14-yard pass. They were a yard short. But the biggest play of the game, Jackson led 28-27, had the ball on their own 20. It was 4th and a half yard. They snapped the ball to Parsons, and Parsons, whenever kind of the snap wasn't good, bobbled snap, and they tackled him with a loss. Lee Summit was able to get the ball and score a couple plays later to take the lead, and that was essentially the ball game. And it's a gutsy call to go for it at that point. But the week before, you just made a big 4th down play. Yeah. Probably thinking the same thing. Hey, we're just going to get it, but just an unfortunate bad snap and or mishandled snap or whatever it happened there. Just wasn't clean. Wasn't a clean. Just the one time you wanted to clean center quarterback exchange there, and it just wasn't. And unfortunate that Jackson. Kind of a missed opportunity, I think. You beat the number one team in state, and then you go to Lee Summit, who's 8-4. Now they're good 8-4. They've won 9 games in a row now, 9-4. But they were 8-4, and probably a game that I think Jackson thinks, in the grand scheme of things, they should have won.
I mean, sometimes that's just how it is. In this case, it's any given Saturday.
Yeah, it was just unfortunate, and you've got to bring when you're in the playoffs, you got to play your best. And I think this is the one game that Jackson just didn't play their best, and some unfortunate penalties, some unfortunate just mistakes that they typically don't make, and just kind of came back to bite them. And Lee Summit will be playing for a state title, first time in 40 years, I believe, that they're going to be playing for a state title. So hopefully they do well. They're going to play that Nixa team, who's really good and has probably the top recruit in the country. So that'll be an interesting game.
Absolutely. Overall for this year in football, what'd you think?
Well, I mean, we got two teams in the semifinals, another team in the quarterfinals. I mean, that's good. I mean, it's kind of some of the same teams that were good last year were good this year, and but I think overall there's some parity after those top three teams. I think that there was some good football played this year, and so I think that we have a lot of younger talent. If a lot of younger good players. Haytai's got some good players. Like I said, we talked about Dexter has some younger guys. We saw Cape Central has a bunch of younger guys that are going to be good. So I think the football in this area is going to be better next year. Even I think that some of these younger guys will develop, and I think we're going to have another good year next year. Possibility to have some teams get to the semifinals and further next year.
All right, want to move on to basketball?
It's time.
Hey, it's about time. All right, so on A-Corp Sports, we covered the Riverbend Classic. It was the 30th annual Riverbend Classic. And, some decent games here and there. It's mostly teams that we either were looking forward to seeing or we're kind of noticing, okay, you're coming off of football. How are you adjusting? Campbell versus Cuba got that at 53-49.
Yeah, the Campbell they came out and played well. I mean, these are early season games, so you're going to have mistakes. You're going to have turnovers. Both teams kind of turned it over a little bit more than probably what the coaches wanted. But, I thought Caden Siebert played well. I thought, Campbell won the game with the free throw line. I think they were 11-12 and, won the game from the line. And I think Campbell's going to be a good team this year. They're going to be a team that's going to have to be reckoned with in Class 2. They're not going to be an easy out. So I think, it's kind of a good start for them. But yeah, definitely, if you can hit those free throws in a big game like that, that's a good start.
Yeah, I think going forward, they're going to show out a little bit more in the Bernie tournament. We're obviously going to start seeing that, and then they're going to come into their own more. And then, like you said, they're going to be a tough out in Class 2. When starting 4 is all Sieberts.
a lot of Team Siebert there. But I think Campbell's going to be fine. And they're going to be a team that, again, a lot of these teams, like you said, coming off football, they're just early season, even if they're not coming off football, just early season. It's going to take a while for a lot of these teams to gel.
Readjusting.
Yeah. And so and some of these teams like West Memphis, they've played several games coming in. So they're going to look a little bit better and make these teams look a little bit worse than probably what they really are.
And then, just going off of that point, St. Mary's versus Crothersville, 95-58.
St. Mary's is good. That's a very athletic team.
Yeah, you want to talk about a team that comes in and apparently has added a majority of new pieces that can just, shake and bake offense immediately. That's St. Mary's. It sucks that Crothersville had to go up against them. Crothersville, one of those teams that's coming off of a football season. They're going to make adjustments. They obviously did that the next day with the. We'll talk about that game. But it was just kind of a tough game to go through.
Yeah, St. Mary's, they had Collins last year as their point guard who averaged like 35 a game, and you lose him, and you think, well, obviously they're going to miss a beat, but I think they're better this year. I mean, that team looked good, just very athletic, and Gary Johnson Jr. He can dunk the ball a little bit. He can get up. Some great clips that you guys had from him. Just the back-to-back dunks there was pretty sweet. But yeah, they're really good, and just a tough start for Crothersville. That was kind of one of those that Crothersville kind of caught a juggernaut right off the bat, and just a tough start for them. But Sammy Bryant looks good.
Bryant looks good.
Very, very athletic guy. He's going to be good in any sport he plays. Q McVeigh, he's a good player as well. They've got some pieces there. They're going to, Coach Bell does a good job with them. They're going to be around in Class 3 and make some noise.
And then West Memphis versus Charleston, 63-51.
Yeah, again, West Memphis, they played a few games. Charleston, again, they came off football. They're still trying to get their feet under them a little bit. Charleston looks like they've got some work to do a little bit. But, again, it's early, really early. Shandon, he had 10 points, Henderson 11, Lane 11. I mean, they're going to be a very balanced team. I think they're going to be a team that's got several guys that can score. But again, it's early in the year. They're going to have to, there's a lot of improvement there that they're going to be making.
Well, I guess that's the thing that I kind of raise an eyebrow at is just like, I don't really see a dominant playmaker for Charleston right now.
Yeah, I would say it's probably Trayshawn Shandon whenever they need it to be. But again, it's early in the year and you're just trying to find, everybody's trying to find their right roles. And Charleston's one of those teams that they can have, they've got a lot of guys there that different pieces, but you're right. They're going to have to find that guy, whether it's Trayshawn Shandon or someone else that is kind of their go-to guy in these big moments. I mean, they played with West Memphis. They played with them. They just didn't, they couldn't make the plays right when they needed to. And to your point, they need that one guy that they can go to.
Well, I think that's going to be the thing that's, kind of highlighted throughout the years. I mean, you look at the competition, especially within your class and in your district, some of those teams, I mean, they're already popping off already.
Right.
So you kind of, if you have to make adjustments early, I mean, you're kind of on the back foot.
Yeah, but at the same time, you need to be peaking in March, into February and March. That's when you need to be peaking. So, I don't think Charleston for years, many years, they kind of start out slow. I mean, it's just the way they do it. It's just they usually start peaking, start playing better around the Christmas tournament, and then after the Christmas tournament, they kind of they'll play Sykes and right off that. Coming back into the new year, and that's kind of their taking off point. And, you can kind of tell, okay, are they going to be, are they getting better, or are they going to be just kind of hanging around? And I think, so I think they're kind of used to that starting slow thing. I don't think they panic. They just want to be, peaking at the end of the season. I don't think there's any panic there, but obviously they're going to have to find some roles and improve as the year goes on.
Absolutely. Lutheran North versus New Madrid County Central, 83-60.
Yeah, New Madrid's another team that I think, they've got a lot of improvement to do. I think, there's a lot of buildup with these freshmen now that they're sophomores. I think that there's a lot of buildup about, hey, this is the next big group coming through here, but this is just not that Jadis Jones, BJ Williamson group. That's just not that group. There's a lot of undue pressure, I think, on them and Coach Jenkins there for them to be that. And I think this is a team that's I think is going to be good, but I think it's going to take them longer to develop. And I think it's, but I think this is a team that's got potential. They look like they're better than they were last year, and that's what you want. But they're sophomores, a lot of sophomores playing. So and they kind of showed their youth against Lutheran North. A lot of turnovers, a lot of just some play from a young team, and but I think they've got some ability. Jaden Williams is a good player. Jaden Guest Newsom's a good player. I mean, they've got some players that are going to be good. It's just going to take them some time, and it's going to take them a while to develop.
Yeah, I think you get those three players that are just kind of coming in their own: Williams, Newsom, and then Minner. And once they kind of find their rhythm, I think they're going to be fine. I want to see just kind of like, okay, what can you add to that starting five to make them to elevate?
Yeah, and they've got the English and Smith on the inside. That's also that's going to help them as well. So I think they've got a lot of pieces there. I think they've got kind of a deep bench. They've got a lot of guys that they can bring off the bench. Palmer's a kid that can hit some threes for you too. I think they've got some guys that are good. They're some pretty good players. It's just like, again, it's just they're sophomores, and developmentally, some of them are not. Jadis Jones looked like a 20-year-old man physically as a freshman, and you don't have that with this group. You don't have that. You've got to develop, and I think Coach Jenkins is working with these guys. I think they'll they're just going to have to work to get better. And again, they're sophomores, so just give them time. I think they'll be fine.
Yeah, I can see why people are not down on this team, but it is a very drastic, cold splash of water in the face that like, hey, state contenders, now you're kind of resetting.
Yeah. But I do think they're better than a 9 seed in the SEMO Conference tournament.
And we'll talk about that.
Yeah, we'll talk about that.
We'll talk about that, David.
But yeah, I think they're, I don't know if they're as bad as some people think they are.
Sure. And we'll talk about improvements right now. Crothersville Lutheran North, 69-74.
Yeah, I mean, Crothersville, again, you just got to get your basketball, legs And Coastal did the same thing last year. They came in there and got it kind of handed to them at the River Bend, and then kind of built off that and improved as the year went on. Ended up having a really nice season. I think this year could be the same. Sammy Bryant is a really good player, and it really helps him when he doesn't foul out in the third quarter. So that's that was a big benefit in this game too. You had Sammy Bryant for four full quarters, and like I said, Q McVeigh is a good player too. Luther North though, they've got some good players. That's a good team, and Crowsville took them to the wire. They just weren't able to pull it out.
Yeah, and then New Madrid County Central and Blytheville 64-70.
Again, I thought New Madrid improved from day one to day two, which is what you want to see. Jaden Williams had a really nice game, and he's somebody that can score. He can score inside, getting to the rim. He can hit the outside shot a little bit. I think he's kind of going to be, I think, their go-to guy as far as points this year. But again, they're just going to have to get better. Blytheville, an Arkansas team, they've played a few games already. Those teams are typically usually advanced, and because they've kind of over those first game jitters, and this is the first weekend for the Missouri team. So, but I thought New Madrid improved and looked much better.
Absolutely. All right, you want to talk about Current River Challenge?
Yeah, I thought there was a couple teams that kind of stood out there. I thought South Pemiscot looked good, beat Neelyville on Friday, and then Saturday they really took it to Pocahontas. Robert Farmer obviously had a big game on Saturday at 28, but they had Ty Campbell score 26 against Neelyville. I think South Pemiscot's going to be a good team. They've got a lot of weapons there. I think Coach Day's got a good team there. Van Buren looked really good. They pounded Richland, pounded Doniphan, and man, they look really good. They're a team. I think you got to look at it in the Christmas tournament as a team who may make some noise there. Just a really nice team there. Woodland, obviously, we talked about them in our pregame or pre-show last year or for earlier this year. They've got a lot of weapons. Corbin Kinder's their main guy. He wasn't even their leading scorer. Calvin Layton, I think, had 25. Jackson Schock, 22. They got a lot of guys that can score, and they're going to be putting up some points on people this year and look good. Twin Rivers, I thought, looked really good. They handed it to the team they played. Cedar Ridge, wherever Cedar Ridge is, but Twin Rivers look good doing it. So there's some teams over there that I think are going to be some pretty good teams this year.
Yeah, I mean, I'm excited to see Van Buren. They're always a team especially in the BCT that they kind of show up. They're usually in that kind of mid-range seed somewhere about, and then they always give me a game that I'm always just like, whoa, had that kind of game. Risco, when they played Risco last year, was just like, whoa, that was an electric game, all the way through.
And Doniphan, I think, didn't they take Doniphan to a couple overtimes? One of the many overtime games last year. Van Buren played some really nice games in the Christmas tournament last year, and I think they're going to be one of the better seeds this year.
And then as far as for everybody else, I mean, Richland's one of those teams I feel like has the biggest question mark because last year they still had they're kind of inheriting that, I feel. Now it's just going to kind of become like, all right, what's the play? What do you do?
Yeah, you've got Tilly back who can score, and he did a nice job, against Van Buren. I think he had 17, 18 points. You've got Hayden Connor as well, but after those two, you're trying to fill in some roles, and you lost a lot from last year, and you're just trying to fill them in, and you're really dependent on Tilly, and how much can he give you is going to be the question because it's
a lot of strain.
Yeah, a lot of teams are going to be focusing on him, trying to stop him. And so you're going to have some other guys kind of step up and help. And again, it's early in the year. Everybody's trying to find their roles. And I'm sure we'll talk about them in the Orion tournament here coming up. I think they're the 5 seed. So I mean, they're going to have to really kind of depend on Tilly early until they can find those complement pieces to help him out.
And then for Woodland, I mean, we talked about offense. If you can pop off on offense, that's great. I mean, defense wins championships, though.
Yeah, that's true. And again, it's early, and I don't know much about this Seymour team. I think they were pretty decent last year. Seymour's got some good players. They had a kid I think score 29. I mean, and look, they're not a bad team. I mean, Woodland looked good. I mean, they were offensively, they were on point the entire night, and they just have so many weapons. They're going to be tough to stop this year. That that Stoddard County Conference, again, is going to look really tough this year with them and Puxico, Dexter, Bernie. I mean, those 4 teams were right there. And we're leaving out Bell City, who's also, they're the top seed in the Orion tournament. So yeah, that's going to be a really nice tournament this year. And again, and a lot of teams, a lot of good teams at Stoddard County Conference.
You want to go ahead and talk about some tournaments?
Let's do it.
So Bernie tournament, I mean, that's the one I'm going to be at for the majority. I'm looking Bernie, I'm looking Campbell, and now I'm looking Neelyville too. I feel like Neelyville is going to be something that, maybe a little bit overlooked, but they've had a couple years where they've been pretty good. So now that I know that Neelyville can play, I'm going to have some more eyes on them.
Yeah, I think Neelyville took out Clarkton earlier this year, and I think that they obviously played South Penn pretty well, and South Penn looked good. Bernie, I think is obviously they're the top seed. They're probably the favorite in this tournament, playing at home. That's going to help them. But yeah, you can't sleep on Campbell. Portageville, that's kind of the question. Portageville is kind of the question mark of, how much are they basketball ready yet? Because they're just coming off of football as well, some guys. But Jack Bell's a good player. They're going to have some. They're going to be ready to play. But I think Bernie just. I think Bernie's the team in this one. I think Bernie and Campbell in that final. I think that kind of sounds like what it might be, and I think that'd be a nice little championship game.
I think that's the expectation. Would I be shocked if somebody hit that, for that championship game, somebody hit that secondary slot other than Campbell? I'd be a little bit shocked, but at the same time, would I like to see it? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, you look, you would think it's going to be Campbell and Portageville. Clarkton could throw a wrench into the system against Campbell, but one thing I noticed about Campbell this year is they don't score like they did last year. Yeah. They don't score a lot of points. Where last year they seemed like they were always 70s, 80s. This year they're kind of lower scoring. So when you're lower scoring like that, it kind of, other teams can kind of hang around. So someone can occasionally get you. But man, Portageville is going to be big, physical. That's what they're going to bring. And then Campbell, I think Campbell, just like you said, I think it'd be kind of surprising if Campbell and Bernie are not in that final.
Yeah, I think Bernie, clear favorites for this tournament. That was a good team last year, and now they are more experienced.
And playing at home.
At home.
They do play well there, and I think that's a big benefit. Big benefit for them as well. So, I look for Bernie to win this tournament.
And then for Orion, Bell City's their number 1 seed, but at the same time, I feel like everybody's talking about Chaffee Red Devils. Yeah,
this is where I'm going to be this week. And, I think, Bell City, obviously they won it last year, and they're trying to defend their title. But again, you talk about Chaffee. Chaffee's really high on their team this year. Nolan Fowler's a good player, and they've got some other guys with him that there's some good players. You really don't know what you get with Westwood Baptist. It's kind of their kind of first foray into the playing some of these local teams. So it's going to be interesting to see how they match up. Finish second in state in the whatever they were in last year, and so I think this is a little more. This is a little less cut and dry than I think the Bernie one is. I think you got a lot more teams. You got Kelly and Richland. Kelly's rebuilding this year. They've got a lot of guys up from the JV that was a pretty good JV. Richland, we just talked about them. They're kind of trying to figure some things out. Really, who knows? There's a lot of unknowns in this tournament, but
and it was that way last year.
Yeah. And that's how, Bell City they were a shock. I don't think anybody gave Bell City a chance when that thing started last year. Now they're the defending champs and the top seed. And I expect them to be there probably in the end. I think Bell City will be there in the end. And then that Chaffee Westwood Baptist, Chaffee, like I said, they have a lot of talk behind them. I don't know how they match up against this Westwood Baptist. I don't know much about them. This is, again, the first time we're really going to see them against some local teams. So, but I think, any of those 3 teams probably could win it, I think.
Sure. It's a great season primer, I would say.
Yeah, you're going to find out a lot in this tournament about Bell City and Chaffee as well. Kelly, Richland. You're going to find out a lot about some of these teams and see how they stack up.
And then let's move forward with SEMO Conference seedings.
Yeah, you've got Cape Central and Sykeston, and they're both playing in the Fountain Classic this weekend. And just as a little aside, they need to get out of that thing. It's a 6-team tournament. It's split into 2 pools. Sykeston's with St. Genevieve, who was sub 500 last year, and DeSoto, who won 4 games last year. Cape Central is with Fort Zumwalt West, who sub 500, and Fox, who was like 4 wins last year. I mean, you're basically setting up a Sykeston. Sykeston winning 2 games big. Cape probably winning 2 games big. They get to play, then probably have to turn around and maybe play the next week. And I'm like, I don't know what either of those teams get in that Fountain City Classic anymore. It used to be a lot better teams. I think they need to, and I'm sure they're probably thinking the same thing. Last thing they want to do is play Cape, turn around, play Cape again. Each team play each other 4 times this year. It's probably not the big thing. But back on the SEMO Conference, Cape the 1, Sykeston the 2. That's kind of what it's been, isn't it? Just those two been the top 2 seeds the last few years, and on a collision course, Jackson the 3. You're getting 3 guys back from football, and I don't expect much from Jackson in this tournament just because of that. I think it's going to take a while for Toma and the Reagans to fit in that mix with Ernst and those guys.
You're getting out of it pretty late too.
Yeah. I mean, how many practices are they really going to have before the SEMO Conference? Because they jump in and play in a tournament this week too. So, I mean, they'll have a couple games under their belt, but, games are not practice, and you're really kind of not you're definitely not in basketball form.
Right.
You got Dexter and Charleston. Dexter gets to play Charleston on Tuesday night, turn around and get to play them again in the first round of the tournament. I think Dexter was seated a little bit higher than what I thought they might be.
Yeah, it's an interesting thing. I mean, even people I've talked about locally, they're just like, I can't believe we got the 4.
Yeah, I think one, I've heard a coach in the seedings gave Dexter the 1 seed. And that's kind of how that got bumped up into how that bumped him up into the 4. I thought they would be more of a 6 seed. And I'm sure that I'm like, if you're Dexter, do you want to play Charleston back to back? I mean, but maybe you do. If you lose the first one, maybe you want to see them again.
Well, last year was an upset.
Right. Yeah. So, maybe you want to see them again. Who knows? If you lose that first one, you like a second chance at them.
Yeah.
But you have that, and then Poplar Bluff the 6. That's kind of surprising. They've got a lot back. So Poplar Bluff got the 6. They'll take on Jackson, and then the Notre Dame the 7, and then Kennett and New Matter at 8 and 9. Very surprised that New Matter got that 9 seed. I saw them more of a 7 seed. But I think it's going to be a good tournament. I think I don't know if it's going to be as chalky as it was last year.
Yeah, I think aside from your 1, 2, 3, the rest of them, I feel like it is very surprising because it's like I feel like you could reorder that very easily.
Yeah, I think there's several different ways it could have went. But I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, it's probably going to be Cape Central and Sykeston in that championship. It's just kind of looking at it. I mean, I would kind of be surprised if it wasn't. I mean, I think that they have the most talent. I think as far as maybe if this was played in into January, maybe Jackson has something to say about that. But I think right now with Jackson, 3 guys coming off of football, haven't played basketball. That's kind of a tough ask. And in Cape Central and Sykeston's had plenty of time to practice basketball. Not that they've got a lot of football guys playing basketball anyway, but in Cape Central the same way, they don't have a lot of football guys playing basketball. So they've had plenty of practice time. I just expect to see them in the championship. But outside of that, I think you've got a lot of maybe different parity here, that some upsets maybe.
I do think it's funny because we talked about even before the season of just like, well, this might be the year that the SEMO Conference kind of opens up a little bit. And we'll put an asterisk on that. It opens up for everybody else, but Cape and Sykeston, I mean, it's kind of getting back into form.
Right. And now it wouldn't shock me. I mean, again, Sykeston's kind of, Matt Tanner says that they're reloading, and not rebuilding. But at the same time, this is a different team than last year. You got a lot of different guys who didn't see the floor a lot last year are going to be dependent on this year. So, I think there's a potential there for Sykeston to get upset at some point. I think, and the same goes for Cape. They've got the same exact thing. There's a lot of guys there that you're depending on that you didn't depend on last year. But at the same time, I think they've got the most talent of these teams that we're talking about here. And, so it wouldn't surprise me to see it go them 1 and 2. But I think this year there's a lot more of a risk of an upset than there was last year. That Sykeston team was not getting upset. I mean, that's like playing at home with those guys. They were not going to, that was their tournament to lose, and they didn't lose it. This year, I think it's a little more wide open.
I'm always going to root for an upset, just something more interesting.
Yeah. I mean, it makes it a lot more fun whenever you've got, it makes it a lot more fun when you just know that, hey, this team's just not going to just steamroll everybody. It does. It makes it a lot more fun. And I think this year we're going to have some fun games.
Absolutely. I think we're into the swing of it. Basketball is just it's going to start rolling really fast.
Yeah, basketball, once it starts, it is pedal to the metal for 3 months and 3 months plus. And so we're going to have a lot to talk about over the next few months.
All right, David, did I miss anything?
I don't think so. We're basketball heavy now.
All right, can't wait to get into it. This has been the SEMO Sports Zone. Thanks for watching. We'll catch you next time.